Yesterday we lost one of the greatest musicians to ever do it, one of the greatest showmen to ever live, one of the greatest to ever stand on a stage, and for that reason, it makes me very, very angry that I have to get on camera and yell about some meaningless bullshit. There are a million more important things that we should be talking about right now. So many different things that we could be talking about, but instead we gotta focus on this because some things never change. Ah yes, the Nascar Sirius XM station, the most non-partisan and unbiased reporting this side of MSNBC. This clip got a lot of attention and I'm glad that it did. I really am glad that it got the attention that it did because it's starting to get really old. It's starting to get really old talking about this stuff. I didn't really want to make a video on this in the first place because the subject is a little bit played out at this point. But no, we're still doing this and we're still being subjected to the industry take that is literally destroying this entire sport's history.
They have these committees now where drivers sit in, and I'm not going to mention the driver that's on the playoff committee that I have heard is screaming loudly to go back to that system, and I pray to God everyone in NASCAR inside that room.
I bet it's a driver that's not won a championship. Would I be right on that? Bingo.
Correct.
The amount of disrespect to not even say the name of who you're talking about, all this does is lead to speculation on who you're talking about, and at that point, people are going to start theorizing and then misinform. This is literally how misinformation spreads. This is like patient zero for this kind of stuff. It's insane. And if you're gonna have such a strong opinion on the subject matter, the least that you can do is have the balls to name names. I mean, come on. I know Danielle's a woman, but come on. There's gotta be something in there. This is not a political statement, by the way. And how about Larry McReynolds getting in there with the sass? And how about Larry McReynolds getting in there with the zinger? I bet it's a guy that didn't win a championship. Oh yeah, motherfucker? Why don't we mosey on down to Racing Reference and take a look at your legacy? Oh, would you look at that? Not a single championship. Larry McReynolds talking a lot of shit. Talking a lot of shit for someone with no rings. So with this clip, people believe that they were directing this angst towards Mark Martin because he is the most vocal anti-Chase voice that it probably exists. And can I just say that I am so proud that 5-year-old me chose to support Mark Martin all the way back in 2002. Can I just say, what a good call. What a good call by 5-year-old me to support such a legend who continues even a decade after the last time that he was in a race car, even a decade later, is still trying to be a driving force for good in the sport. I've been talking this shit ever since I started the channel. You know, I've been talking this way since I started the channel. And to see someone actually with an ounce of clout in the sport itself actually start to say these things, it really validates. It really validates all the work that us on YouTube have laid the groundwork for to, you know, all that nonsense. Sorry. Where was I going with this? Mega Doomer says, hey Mark, Sirius XM Channel 90 threw shade on you without saying your name. But I knew they were talking about you in regards to wanting the old point system back. So this is where it all started. And the most amazing part is that almost immediately, as if they were watching Twitter waiting for something like this to go down, Danielle Trotta, Mark, you know I love you, but what we got is a whole lot better than what we used to do. We need a playoff, we need eliminations, we need to reward winning and consistency. This format does it all and is highly entertaining. Oh, baby! Remember 2020 when Brian Kozlowski made the post about iRacing drivers and I said that was the worst racing take of the decade? Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, we have found it. Worst take of the century. This is cataclysmically wrong. And I could go on for hours listing the reasons why it's wrong. But I'm gonna save it in this video because I've already made plenty of videos on the subject. We know, and I'm not the only one. Everyone and their mother have made videos on this subject. This is not a question at this point. The science is settled. The playoff format sucks. NASCAR would not be actively talking about changing it if it didn't. Why are you still ardently defending this garbage? What are you doing? Is Danielle the biggest Logano fan on the internet? Who is this for? Who do you think is supporting you? Can we just take a look at this tweet for a second? 193 likes, 1.2 thousand replies. Look at that ratio. Look at that ratio. Who is paying you to say these things? Blink twice if you're compromised. But I'm not gonna get into the trenches on that one. I have plenty of videos explaining in depth why this format sucks. We're going to focus on this Twitter controversy because that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. This channel is just slop entertainment at this point. There is no reason to put any more effort into this video than I already have. This is astonishing in and of itself, and this set off a litany of tweets. Mark Martin himself got in there with it. In direct response to Danielle, Mark says, "No, we don't. Talk your shit, King." And I appreciate that Mark is immediately on to Twitter and responding directly to Danielle, not, forgetting to say the name or saying, or like doing the thing with the asterisks on the vowels. But all this did was set off just a wave of support for Mark Martin. Jeff Gluck came out in support of Mark. Mark started retweeting people who were, on his side here. And in one of the most amazing moments that I think I've ever personally seen on the internet, Mark Martin retweeted this by Trevor's241. Please remember that all of them in that platform are beholding to NASCAR. Moody is the worst. Mark Martin retweeted a post of someone saying that Dave Moody is the worst. I love this man with my whole heart. And then, as if you thought this couldn't get any worse, Larry McReynolds tweets in response to this comment, "Your comments today that apparently were directed at Mark Martin were more than just disappointing to me. He's an absolute legend and didn't deserve that disrespect." Larry McReynolds says, "Absolutely not true." Sorry, hold on, let me get the voice going. "Absolutely not true. Mark Martin is my hero and I'm proud to call him a friend. If you would listen closely, it's a driver that's active and on the council. I find it hard to believe how you folks come up with this stuff sometimes." What? That's an astonishing statement considering that when Danielle responded on Twitter, Mark Martin wasn't even a part of the conversation yet. She actively seeked out this response and directly mentioned Mark's name, which she failed to do in SiriusXM, by the way. It's very interesting. She said she wouldn't name any names while, broadcasting, but on Twitter she's more than happy to name names. But the point that I'm trying to make is that Mark wasn't even aware of this conversation taking place until Danielle made this post. So she had to actively seek out the conversation that was going on, not with Mark Martin, but she name drops Mark and addresses these posts as if she's talking to Mark. And she doesn't mention anything in this post about how it was not Mark Martin. She doesn't clarify that it was someone else. She doesn't say anything like that. And as a matter of fact, she's the one talking about who was on the council and who was talking about. Larry McReynolds was just saying, oh, it must be someone with no championships. Like, even when I personally listened to the clip back, I could not tell that it was Mark Martin that Larry McReynolds was talking about. But as far as Danielle is concerned, it appears she was talking about Mark Martin. So this is basically just spiraled into an absolute nightmare disaster scenario for the SiriusXM host. Will there be repercussions? No. No one that toes the company line in NASCAR ever faces any repercussions. But if you're, someone like Denny Hamlin and you say that the cars aren't as good as they were back during the previous generation, you get fined $25,000. So this was just an absolutely astonishing sequence of events that there's really no other way to describe it. Once again, I'm proud to have made the correct decision when I, wasn't even in school yet. I just had that instinct, and I had that dog in me back in the day, It's just a pure instinct. This is sad. The Elite Precision decided to start a campaign on canceling SiriusXM NASCAR. I don't think that's a thing you can do. I'm pretty sure you need to buy all of Sirius to have access to it, or at least the sport package. But canceling SiriusXM is borderline impossible, so good luck. Good luck. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but I feel like it's not gonna happen. I don't know what else to say at this point. I could list every reason why this championship format is terrible. It does not reward. It is not a whole lot better than what we used to do. It does not reward winning. And I guess it kind of rewards winning, unless you're Kevin Harvick. And it does not reward consistency. The format does nothing but be stupid and awful, and it is the opposite of entertaining. So yeah, like I said, the worst post in the history of Twitter. Anyway, I suppose that's this video. Yeah, good stuff. That's gotta be 10 minutes at least. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you whatever comes next. We'll see you in a week when the next horrible take about the championship format comes out, because there's no shortage of this nonsense. Thank y'all so much for watching. Bye.
What the fuck is happening right now? Hello? Come on, Vito. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. Maybe. All right. Here we go. No. Wait. No, don't go over there. No. Oh, God. No kidding, Rick Allen. I couldn't have said it better myself, honestly.